and we are just waiting for YouTube to go live. All right. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays. It is August 27th, 2025, and we are picking up where we left off in Signs and Symbols. We are on chapter 14, which is, let me see, hand signals. I was going to say hand gestures, so I'm glad I didn't say signals. Make myself look like a goofy. All right, so we are dealing with hand signals on the book Masonic and Occult Symbols um Illustrated. Again, this is a book that I have had access to for quite some time. And I got a lot of books like this. I got a lot of information. That's something else we're going to be adding to the community. We're going to be adding that we have the book club, but we just going to be uploading the book club with a whole lot of different things. So again, y'all stay tuned, and we will definitely be working on this. All right. So chapter 14, hand signals. And y'all know about a lot of this stuff, right? Y'all see the rappers doing the hand signs. I really should have, if this was more of a presentation, I would actually have slides in here showing you how demonic a lot of our rapper entertainers and people like that are. All right. So it can get very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I say two people watching the stream. This supposed to be hid. All right, so Proverbs 6:12 tells us, a naughty person, a wicked man walketh with a froward mouth. If you don't know what the word froward mean, hold on, there we go. Gotta love it. Oh man, look at that boy. They trying to make you use this AI assistant up in here. It's taking too long. I like the Apple version better. But of course, we in this program because this show is just like taking forever. So with that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do us a service. Yeah, no, thank you. You taking that long, right? So froward, as you can see, means willful and disobedient. If your dog sits when you call her to come and runs away when you tell her to sit, you can say she's froward. The adverb froward is an old fashioned way to describe someone who's difficult and ornery. All right. Froward of a person, difficult to deal with, contrary. So the scriptures talk about these people being contrary. That means you're contrary to God. And tomorrow, just drop the book in the chat. All right. So a naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth. He winketh with his eyes. He speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. It sounds as though this verse could be applied to Masons, occultists, gang members, and many other groups of people because they often use their hands and their feet to give messages to one another. For example, the Masons have their secret hand grips. They also position their feet in a particular manner to form a tau cross. This type of position can be helpful if a Mason is called into court. With this stance, the judge, if he is also a Mason, which most of them are, can readily see that the person before his bench is a fellow member of his society. Now, y'all see, it's talking about society. What's going on with that? What do that, society? Yeah, that's a society. Just like Unia Republic, we are a society, a different kind of society than them. But I'm just trying to express that to you. Masons, it's a religious organization, and we've learned that reading this book. You see, the Mason taking the oath of the third degree promises to conceal all crimes committed by a fellow Mason, except those of treason and murder. By the seventh degree of Masonry, the candidate has to promise that he will assist a companion Royal Arch Mason when I see him engaged in any difficulty and will espouse his cause so far as to extricate him from the same, whether he be right or wrong. And you notice a lot of this stuff going on with the Epstein files and all that type of stuff, right? In the 13th degree, the oath is taken to the effect that all crimes are to be concealed, including murder and treason. So when you get up to the 13th degree, oh yeah, you really satanic. This, of course, means that if a Mason has committed murder and the judge is also a Mason, the judge is obligated by his Masonic oath to set the murderer free, even if it results in placing the blame on an innocent person. In fact, this command is given in one handbook. You must conceal all the crimes of your brother Masons. You should be summoned as a witness. Oh, should you be summoned, my bad, as a witness against a brother Mason, be always sure to shield him. It may be perjury to do this, it is true, but you're keeping your obligations. Witches tell us that hand signals are very important. In Wicca, a guide for the solitary practitioner, we find gestures are silent counterparts to words. Gestures can enhance Wiccan rituals when performed in conjunction with invocations or dance, or can be used alone for their real power. My introduction to Wicca happened to include some of these old gestures. In 1971, I saw some photographs of magical protective gestures such as the mano figo, a hand clenched into a fist, the thumb jutting out between the first and middle fingers, and the mano cornuta, a V formed by the first and little fingers and held upside down. The latter is used in Wicca with points up to represent the god in his homed aspect. Gestures in Wiccan ritual can easily become second nature. Say became. When invoking the goddess and god, the hands can be held uplifted with the fingers spread to receive their power. The goddess can be individually invoked with the left hand, the thumb and the first finger held up and curled into a half circle, while the rest of the fingers are tucked against the palm. This represents the crescent moon. The god is invoked with the first and middle fingers of the right hand raised, or with the first and fourth fingers up, the thumb holding down the others against the palm to represent horns. And that's that satanic salute right there that we see. And I'm telling you, I used to do this to throw up the H. Some of y'all from Houston and y'all be throwing up the H. I'm sorry to tell you that's a demonic sign and you are conjuring demonic energy. You cannot take these things and use them for something different. I thought you could, but I found out that ain't how this work. The elements can be invoked with individual gestures when approaching the four directions. A flat hand held parallel to the ground to invoke earth at the north, and raised and an upraised hand, fingers spread wide apart to invoke air at the east, an upraised fist for the south to invite fire, and a cupped hand to the west to invoke water. Gestures are also used in magic. Each of the fingers relates to a specific planet as well as an ancient deity. Since pointing is a magical act and is a part of many spells, the finger can be chosen by its symbolism. The thumb relates to Venus and to the planet Earth. Jupiter, both the planet and the god, rules the forefinger. The middle finger is ruled by the god and planet Saturn. The fourth finger and the sun and Apollo, and the little finger by the planet Mercury, as well as the god after which it is named. Gestures are magical tools as potent as any other. ones we can always take with us to be used when needed. Italics in the original, caps and boldface added. The mano figo, also called FICA gesture mentioned above, has been regarded as a defense against the evil eye, a crude insult, and a sexual symbol as well. The mano cornuta was also mentioned. This is known by a number of other names, such as the Devil's Triad, Cornuto, the Horned Devil, Twin Horned Salute, Horned Hand, Devil Salute, and Devil's Horn Salute. So that probably was a horned up there when I said honed with the god horned, y'all. That was, you know, I believe that this book came by way of a scan, and sometimes the scan will turn RN into a M. I've seen it done before. This is a kind of older thing. All right, the devil's triad is a recognition sign among Satanists and witches. Remember that Satan or Pan is called the horned god. So the hand signal is formed so as to resemble horns. Many people in heavy metal music or rock music also use this sign. And if you think about it, we didn't even used to do signs like that in hip hop. But when they start paying these niggas, these rappers, excuse my French, um, then you start getting people throwing these signs up, and you literally be cursing yourself and cursing your family and all kind of people. You just cursing. And when we're not talking about using profanity, we're talking about actual spells, curses, things that bring harm. All right. Um, Even some within the so-called Christian rock world, right? There is no such thing as I was about to say, what? There is no such thing as Christian rock. Yes, it is, but that's another story. Use this signal. Some of the rock groups, hey, I done seen full-fledged Christians up in here throwing up the devil sign, and then gonna be surprised when the Messiah be like, "Depart from me, I never knew you." Some of the rock groups who use this are Gene Simmons from Kiss, Heart, Cheap Trick, Utopia, and so-called Christian rock group Petra. The Beatles were the first rock band to use the Devil's Triad on a record album cover. Another rocker who frequently uses the Devil's Salute is Ronnie James Padovana, who calls himself Dio, which is Latin for God. He admits that he knows about the occult, and he at one time led thousands in altar calls to Satan at concerts. I'm trying to tell y'all, this stuff is real, y'all. His album covers also feature this sign. In addition, it is interesting to note his name on the cover. When his name is turned upside down, the word changes from Dio to devil. The devil's triad is a Sicilian sign of the devil used to cast spells and to ward off the evil eye, as well as a sign for hexing and charming, casting spells, which is explicitly forbidden in Deuteronomy 18, verses 10 through 12. A. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. This sign is also used by the mafia for signaling death. It is also intriguing to note that the god Shiva, which is a synonym for Satan according to the Satanic Bible, also is seen making the devil's triad in some pictures. One Mason, JSM Ward, brags Shiva, who carries in his second right hand the cable toe of death, is the Lord of death, and therefore of rebirth, reincarnation. It is particularly significant that he should be represented as making the sign he is. In the gods of India, we find, I bow to, uh, first of all, this is what they say. They bow. Let me just be clear, y'all. Don't read this to yourself because you have to understand that this is a way to trick you to invoke some spirits or cast some spells on yourself. And you got to be like, you really got to be paying attention, y'all, because like you see how the spirit just told me, don't read that like that. They bow to Shiva as Isana, the ruler, who has 5 faces, followed by the she goat. He holds in his hands the Vedas, an elephant hook, a noose, a hatchet, a skull, a drum, a rosary, a trident, and he shows the gestures of removing fear and granting boons. Below is the moon sign. It is used by witches to salute the rising moon. Don't that look like the hey, call me when you get, and you wonder where all these signs and symbols come from.
No, that's that other sorority, not sorority, fraternity sign too.
Yeah, it's that too, for sure. Cause they use it in many different ways. You know, but no, they use, cause you know all of the hand gestures and stuff is you know, they all come from something satanic. So when you
Hmm.
see these people doing all that stuff, y'all, you know, and Truth Unedited got videos on that. So I don't even think we got to go into the Divine Nine because he broke their rituals down to the T. I'm talking about, boy, Truth Unedited did that. All right. A hand signal can also be seen in the tarot deck. The magician, also called the magus, or you know, magus, they say magus, but it's the magus or the juggler or the magi. Y'all better understand that the word magician come from magi. A young man holding up a wand in his right hand and pointing to the earth with his left. On a table before him are the 4 elemental symbols, and above his head is the sign of eternity or infinity. He is the magus, the adept, the human being integrated on all planes. The will liberated through understanding. His gesture, hold on, y'all, my bad. I got people calling me and stuff. Hold on. All right, y'all. My bad. So again, his gesture refers to the basic occult principle: that which is above is that which is below, but after another manner. All right, and you see him doing it. You see he got the pentagram. Hold on. So it ain't no secret what's going on over here, because folks got the pentagram. He got the elements on the table, and he's doing the satanic Baphomet gesture, one hand pointing to heaven, one hand pointing to earth.
Why my man look like Prince though?
I'm crying. I'm crying, bro. You're funny. I don't know. That's a good question. Hopefully, we get the answer to that question soon. Notice that the artist of Baphomet, Eliphaz Levi, who was a Mason and occultist, drew Baphomet making the same occult gestures. As our parchment boasts, those who receive initiation into the mysteries are given certain keys pertaining to both white and black magic, which were portrayed by the right hand of the Baphomet pointing upward to the bright disk of the waxing moon, while the left hand pointed downward to Lima in darkness. The many of uh, that many of the leading lights of masonry were in quest of the magical secrets no student of occult science will deny. Another hand gesture is called the mudra. The Seeker's Handbook explains that a mudra is a ritual gesture of the hand or body, often seen in Oriental art and sculpture, as in figures showing the Buddha with one hand raised in the gesture of granting peace and dismissing fear. Like trans-like motions, I mean, also, my bad, trans-like motions or conclusive ecstatic poses and hand gestures, often performed in a convulsive manner by someone receiving a direct transmission of spiritual power from a master Shaktipat. And there you see, a dictionary of mysticism notes that the mudra or mudra is a mystic seal of Oriental occultism, a series of occult signs made with the fingers and considered to have magical effects. In the gods of India, we find, in addition to mantras, yantras, the third way of representing deities is through gestures or mudra. There is a large number of symbolic gestures used in ritual and believed to evoke supernatural beings. Many of the mudras through which a deity can be evoked are also used in the sacred dance, emphasis in the original. So you getting this stuff from these folks. All right. Look at this. Notice how the fingers of both figures on page 231 are formed into circles. This is called a mudra. All right, you see what's going on here. Another hand gesture is that of benediction. The shadow represents Satan. That shadow, according to Satanists, is the symbol of malediction. A modernized use of this sign appeared in the Daily World of October 18, 1969, as the insignia of the communist GIs and vets for peace. The Pope makes this sign frequently, especially when giving blessings. And you see, and it's crazy because it looked like they got Haya, which, that would be, I don't know if that's a letter right there, but, that would be the Hebrew name. Yeah, I see it right here. Yod Hey Wahe. All right, so y'all got to understand they're using Hebrew because Hebrew is the language of creation. Some people may differ. Some people don't like when I say stuff like that. And again, we're not here to offend anybody. We're just giving you the truth as we know it. So help us the Most High. And some of this stuff may challenge your thoughts and perspective. But we always willing to open the floor and have a conversation about it in love and peace, because we don't hate anybody, but we want you to be privy to a lot of these signs and symbols, because I was raised in the occultic societies. Being in the entertainment industry, you almost gotta take oaths and all these different things. And me coming up in there, I witnessed all of this stuff. Like, they believe that it's real. Eugene, you got a question? Or did you accidentally raise your hand?
What I was about to say was in that passage when Paul was on his way on the road to Damascus on the road to Damascus, did he not say he heard from the heavens the voice in the Hebrew tongue?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, so hold on. My bad, y'all. I had to respond to that. So, um, Los is stupid. No, that is Poseidon's. He gonna say that means GD folks. Hey, Los retarded. I wish y'all could see what was in the chat, y'all. It's crazy. I'm talking about. I might have to screenshot this just to put it on the screen, because Los is crazy, y'all. That's my brother, man, and he crazy. Hey, for real. Since he want to be famous, we go put you on the screen, Los. Look at what Los he say. This means GD folks, and that is true. In Chicago, the folks use a pitchfork, but hey, just like I had to learn from the gang I was in, my whole family was folks. All that stuff is tied to sorcery. It's
Facts.
tied to sorcery, y'all. I don't care what it is. You gang banging, anything that teach you to be against your brother and kill your brother if he got on a different color than you. Like, come on, y'all. That is demonic and Masonic. I
Look
promise.
all the alumni. Every last one of them Masonic.
Boy, hey, yo, Lucky, I promise you. I know you came in a little late, but we was just talking about that. And Truth Unedited got a video about the Divine Nine. And I think Tamara just dropped it in the chat. But man, check that out. You know what I'm saying? This man gonna put the five up. And I ain't putting that on the screen. I used to be, I'm telling y'all, man, when we learned this stuff, my homie told me one day, one of the high ranking officials of the gang, he said, boy, this all Masonic. I'm just like, boy, you tripping. All right. A former witch, Mason, and Satanist explains. However, the two fingers together mudra symbolizes. Um, One, the Masonic Gnostic law of opposites, the need for both dark and light, which we already debunked that we don't need good and evil, dark and light, but it's dark and light, good and evil, pain and pleasure, which is exemplified in such Masonic icons as the Master's Carpet, which is intended to be a black and white checkerboard. This is rooted in Persian dualism, the doctrine that there is a God of good and a God of evil, and that both gods are equal in power and are necessary to the equilibrium of the cosmos, and is totally unbiblical. Pause. We can just step away from the Bible and tell you that this is totally in error. It is what they taught us because they desire for you to balance good and evil. In order for the wicked ones to keep control of this realm, they have to, absolutely have to keep evil at a high level in this realm. And people are not understanding that because they made pacts with the dark forces. And the dark forces are not the opposite of God. We break that down. All you got to do is go into Unity community. What is that? The sacred silence. It is in mindfulness and uh let me just see real quick because I just want to make sure I'm telling you spiritual growth and mindfulness, y'all. Let me put that on the screen for y'all so y'all can see. We have the sacred silence right here. If you go into this course, it tells you about duality and how duality represents man in his fallen state. All right. We don't need to be duals. That's why we all torn apart with good and evil. That's man in his fallen state. Now we have to come back up to that God level again. All right. So B, these also symbolize the Abba or father current of magic and the Aima or mother current of magic. These currents or lines of power come down to us through the centuries from Babylon and Nimrod. In Satanism, the gesture is known as the sign of the bowman. It is a symbol of the Antichrist. This bowman slash Antichrist association in the occult is because of the connection between the horned god of witchcraft and the hunt. A popular name for the horned god in England is, in fact, Heme the Hunter. Heme. Heme. What is a heme, y'all? Anybody know what heme is real quick?
I don't know, but if y'all in Chicago, y'all hear somebody say, "Hey, you better check him out." You better keep it moving.
That is that is not him, y'all.
Mm-mm.
Heme. Come on, y'all. What is look,
A,
all right,
a type of iron,
okay,
like
okay.
beam
Well,
iron.
it ain't iron itself, but it does have iron in it. I'm gonna go and put it on the screen for y'all. Hemoglobin, an iron containing compound of the porphyrin class, which forms the non-protein part of hemoglobin and some other biological molecules. This is what your blood, yeah, your blood. All right. So that I'm just saying why y'all think they call them heme. Emphasis in the original. The complete book of witchcraft reveals there was a deeply seated belief in the fascination or enchantment of shadows, so that the witch or magician could use them to either produce sickness and death or to inspire love. The shadow of the priest's fingers raised in blessing was considered by Satanists' American opinion to have evil significance. A remarkable thing connected with the hand so lifted is that its shadow represented the head and horns of the goat of Baphomet, which we know the goat of Mendez, the symbol of black magic. The use of the shadow of blessing as regarded as the legitimate prerogative of the Pope and was most terribly exercised using the Dark Ages and at the times of the Inquisition, emphasis in the original. A related hand signal is the peace sign or V sign. The signal actually began as a symbol of satanic benediction during the rituals. See, it's all about the intention of what we use to create something. That's what is going to forever have it manifested into this realm. All right. This sign has been used by Yasser Arafat, Richard Nixon, Winston Churchill, and Stuart Meacham, co-chairman of Red's New Mobilization Committee. Churchill said that the sign stood for victory, but remember that Churchill was one of the insider elite and a Mason. Today I'm traveling to Alabama. They gave him what? Trampling what? They was what? He most likely knew the evil significance of this symbol, but tried to give it a facelift. And this is what I'm saying. The V sign has a colorful history. V is the Roman sign for the number 5, and Adam Weishaupt used it in the Illuminati to symbolize the law of fives. But there's more. In the Kabbalah, the meaning for the Hebrew letter for V or Vav, which is wall, not Vav, that's some old modern stuff, is nail. Now, the nail is one of the secret titles of Satan within the Brotherhood of Satanism. Satan is letting us know that this is one of his favorite signs. Why else does he like the pentagram, which means 5, penta, 5, like the Pentateuch, the 5 books of the Torah, and the fivefold statue used in masonry and with witchcraft? That's a question. Emphasis in the original. Furthermore, the leftists, radicals, and Satanists who have popularized the sign know its ancient significance very well. In fact, that V sign is now used extensively by such communist organizations as the Young Socialist Alliance, Vets for Peace in Vietnam, and the Students for a Democratic Society. Although not a hand sign, the peace symbol itself needs to be examined. Known as the peace sign throughout the 1960s and into the present day, this symbol is the Teutonic rune of death. 1950s peace advocate Gerald Holtham may have been commissioned by communist sympathizer Bertrand Russell to design a symbol to unite leftist peace marchers in 1958. It is clear that either Holtham or Russell deemed the Teutonic Neronic cross as the appropriate symbol for their cause. And if you notice, this is a man hanging upside down, like St. Peter's cross. Throughout the last 2,000 years, this symbol has designated hatred of Christians. Nero, who despised Christians, crucified the Apostle Peter on a cross head downward. This hideous event resembled the Teutonic cross and became a popular pagan insignia of the day. Thereafter, this sign became known as the Neronic cross. And that's all they do. They rebrand stuff, rename it to something else, and have you thinking, oh yeah, that's cool. That just mean this. Let's see. So what you mean to tell me this whole time the sign these mofos done lied to us and told us this is a sign of peace when it's a sign of death? Well, can't you tell? How much peace has this sign brought forth? I'll wait. Oh, ain't nobody got no response for that. Okay. So it ain't brought forth no peace whatsoever. That's why the Bible say they'll yell peace, but its sudden destruction is imminent. Y'all better understand, y'all. The symbol's origin in history proves it to be the visual mystic character for Om, the split Y. This is the sacred root word to the Hindu. Om, y'all. Chanting Om is supposed to help awaken the serpent power of Brahma. If y'all don't get it, they be like, oh, that's just the Kundalini energy that go up and down your spine. Listen, it's spiritual energy in your body no matter what. Trust me. All right. But the serpent power of Brahma at the end, at the base of the human spine. Occultist Albert Pike also identifies this symbol as mystical in his book on Freemasonry, Morals and Dogma. More owls and dogma. So a lot of the Moors, y'all don't even know. More owls, more Moorish gods and dogma. Yeah, y'all just not ready for, man, Albert Pike. Again, I don't recommend you read the book because that's one of them books that can cast a spell. Make sure you deep rooted in the spirit.
Heavily don't read that book. Heavy on that.
Y'all know we would have did a class on it already, but it ain't nothing but just like how I stopped at that ritual before I invoked it on myself, and I peeped what I was doing. Yeah, that's what type of time frame we on. All right. The peace symbol, also called the broken cross, crow's foot, witch's foot, Nero's cross, sign of the broken Jew, and the symbol of the Antichrist, is actually a cross with the arms broken. It also signifies the gesture of despair and the death of a man. Trying to tell you. The Germanic tribes who used it attributed strange and mystical properties to the sign. Such a rune is said to have been used by black magicians in pagan incantations and condemnations. And y'all got to understand, the pagans came from the Vikings. That's the whole thing about Constantine. He was trying to unite pagan Rome with Christian Rome. And in the end, the the 10 Viking tribes came in and took over anyways. That's what happened. All right. To this very day, the inverted broken cross, identical to the socialist peace symbol, is known in Germany as a Toter's rune or death rune. Not only was it ordered by Hitler's National Socialists that it must be, I think that's Totter's rune. I don't remember because I know, oh no, death. So Toter instead of Totten, Totten, I think is how you say death or dead. But anyway, you look at, I know a little German, y'all. Yes, I do. All right, not only was it ordered by Hitler's National Socialists that it must appear on German death notices, but it was part of the official inscription prescribed for the gravestone of Nazi officers of the Dread SS. The symbol suited Nazi emphasis on pagan mysticism. Italics in the original, boldface added. With the arms of the cross raised in an upright position, it is a Pythagorean emblem of the course of life, in the form of a rising path with forked roads to good and evil. You wonder why the wicked people control. They just took it from more wicked people. So people be carrying these signs and say, oh no, that was our ancient ancestors. Sorry, but no, they use these things to become rulers of the world and oppress men. Anytime somebody want to rule the world, that means you trying to oppress something. You trying to put something under you. That is connected to ego. I don't care what you say. If you really into all these mystical societies, you can see it as plain as day. Well, no, you can't. I think it's just the spirit of the Most High God, because I went through a lot of this stuff, and it didn't have the same effect on me that it had on the people around me. All right. It also signifies fertility, but with the arms pointing downward, it denotes evil and death. So you can see the Nazis was using that symbol. In fact, the inverted man rune, the figure encircled in the common sign, which the communists tell us means peace, has for centuries been a favorite sign of Satanists. Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, used the peace symbol as the backdrop for his altar. One former witch makes the following comment about the peace symbol. It is an ancient and powerful symbol of Antichrist. During the Dark Ages, it was used in Druid witchcraft and by Satanists of all sorts during the initiation of a new member to their order. They would draw the magic circle and give the initiate a cross. The initiate would then lift the cross and turn it upside down. He would then renounce Christianity in all three dimensions of time, past, present, and future, and break the horizontal pieces downward, forming the design of the raven's foot. This ugly symbol is nothing short of blasphemy against the Holy Ghost. For one to wear or display this symbol, it is to announce either knowingly or unknowingly that you have rejected Christ. Remember, symbolism is a picture language, and a picture is worth 1,000 words. Below are a few examples of how the peace symbol is being used. Now, before we get into that, I'm gonna scroll to it, but y'all have to understand that the only way, like, for example, I showed y'all before. I was like, yo, I could, you know, inject a thought into your mind. Hold on, let me turn off this annotation thing because people be drawing on the screen, man. They be wanting us to see their art. They be wanting us to see their art. That's all. You're a phenomenal artist, Van Gogh even. All right, just clear that up real quick. But look, you see they got the yin yang sign with the peace, the American flag, everything. All right. The Marxists use this symbol. Another hand signal is the Vulcan peace sign. It is supposed to mean live long and prosper and can be seen in what? Star Trek. You know, y'all remember that sign in Star Trek. Vulcan was a sun deity who was associated with fire, thunderbolts, and light. The festival in honor of him was called the Vulcania. Human sacrifices were offered. According to Deal, there's a family relationship to the Christian devil. It's fascinating to know that he married Venus, another name for Lucifer or the devil. What is even more interesting is that Vulcan adored in Masonry under the name of Tubal Cain. In the Masonic quiz book, the question is asked, who was Tubal Cain? The answer is he is the Vulcan of the pagans. In Masonry, Tubal Cain is the name of the password for the Master Mason or third degree. Listen to what occultist and Mason Manly Palmer has to say. Palmer Hall, Manly P. Hall is who this is, but Manly Palmer Hall has to say. When the Mason learns the key to the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mastery of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and before he may step onward and upward, he may prove his ability to properly apply energy. He must follow in the footsteps of his forefather Tubal Cain, who with the mighty strength of the war god hammered his sword into a plowshare. Well, I'm telling you the stuff, you know, yeah, Katrina said, but it's so real they use herbs, altars, and candles. They wicked and it be people we know. Oh, it sure do. You don't even be knowing. People be doing, they don't even be knowing. A lot of people doing this stuff don't even know that they invoking spirits, wonder why they can't get ahead in life, wonder why it's always misfortune happening. All right. There is also a sexual connotation associated with Vulcan and Tubal Cain, former Mason Bill Schnoebelen adds. For Masons who wish to conceal their membership from non-Masons, but still advertise it to their lodge brothers, there is a special pin or tie tack they can wear. It looks like an upside down golf club with two balls, no diddy, near the top. Many people assume the person is a golfing enthusiast, but it is actually a visual Masonic pun, and they just said it's a sexual connotation. So, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. All right. This is called the two ball cane. I'm done. Moment of silence, real quick, for this nonsense. I don't even know how I didn't see that about to manifest. See how I didn't do it? You see how I didn't do it? Because I was about to do it. I almost did it, and I didn't do it. If you know, you know. This is called the two ball cane and is a pun on the secret password of a master mason. Two ball cane, it is also an all too obvious pun on the god of masonry, the male reproductive organ. Nice, eh? Especially when many men wear these wretched things to church on Sunday. So, yeah, this is so Diddy. Ain't no Diddy. This is so Diddy over here with this read. While we are on the subject of masonry, there's another Masonic symbol called the clasped hands. Of course, the Masons aren't the only ones who use this symbol. It is now used by the AFL-CIO and is frequently reproduced in the communist daily world to indicate union between comrades. This insignia is the official symbol of the communist-controlled student Nonviolent Coordination Committee and serves as the logo for the Trotsky type wait, let me say it one more time. Trotskyite communist workers' world. This emblem was also a Pythagorean symbol. Pythagoras was a magician. Many Masonic sources reveal that that the clasped hands are a symbol of fidelity, but they don't stop with that explanation. For example, Albert G. Mackey, 33rd degree Mason, confesses the right hand has in all ages been deemed an emblem of fidelity, and our ancient brethren worshiped deity under the name of Fides or fidelity, which was sometimes represented by two right hands joined. Well, I'm finna get the fidelity symbol now. I got to, cause now I'm curious. And let me tell y'all something. Uh, when you dealing with this stuff, right? Hey, look, I don't even know why I even had to look this up, right? Let me just show y'all what I just want to show y'all something because we reading this, right? Just watch this, y'all. Watch this. Now look at that. I shouldn't even have to say anything else. You see the pyramid. Uh-huh. They letting you know. They worship these gods, y'all. All right. So, where was I? So Numa was the first who erected. Wait, did I do that? Yeah, I did that. I read that. All right. So, which is two hands, yeah, and sometimes by human figures holding each other by right hands, which we saw that. All right. Numa was the first who erected an altar to Fides or Fides or Fides, whatever, under which name the goddess of oaths and honesty was worshipped. Obligations taken in her name were considered as more inviolable than any others. Italics in the original, boldface and caps added. Oh, so here again, the Masonic symbol represents a pagan god. This time it is Fides or Fides, whatever, Fido, for all I care. In fact, the very first degree of the Masonic ritual contains the following question and answer. Why were you caused to rest your right hand on the Holy Bible square and compasses? A, because the right hand was supposed to be our ancient brethren to be the seat of fidelity. And so they worship deity under the name of Fides, which was supposed to be represented by the right hands joined and by two human figures holding each other by the right hand. The right hand, therefore, we Masonically use to signify in the strongest manner possible the sincerity of our intentions in the business in which we are engaged. Emphasis in the original. How can a Christian worship Fides and at the same time worship the God who commanded, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me"? Exodus 20:3. Another of God's precepts is make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. Exodus 23:13. So, of course, we know this is for demonstration purposes. All right, so that is the end of this lesson. Yes, Fides is a deity. And since you asked, why don't we? I don't know how I like to do. Uh, where is my other browser? Oh, it's over here. Who is Fides? Look at that, y'all. We got that done pretty quick. Fides, right? Let's see, or let me just see how it's pronounced. It looked like Fides, like bona fide. So yeah, I was right about that. All right. Fides is the ancient Roman goddess of trust, faithfulness, and good faith. Bona fides. Come on, y'all. This is a bona fide. Y'all got to understand it's so many spells in this language. So many. And you be sitting here wondering why you got all these curses over yourself. She was seen as the bedrock of relationships and communities, overseeing everything from the loyalty of soldiers to the trustworthiness of treaties. Her cult was old, and her importance to the Roman state was marked by a temple on the what hill, y'all? Capitoline Hill. Now, pause for a second, right? What do y'all know about the Capitoline Hill? You should know, where the Senate sometimes convened. She is often depicted as a veiled young woman holding a dove, fruits, or a military standard, and her image appears on coins to symbolize public and private loyalty. Y'all see it. It's on the coin. The Masonic grip, FIDES. They letting you know. They letting you know what time it is. Goddess of abstract concepts. She personified the abstract qualities of trust, honesty, and reliability. We just read it. So if you research everything in this document, you're going to find it. Now they're gonna uh remarket and rebrand it because they want to make these wicked things attractive. They want to make you feel like, oh yeah, that I donned this, so I'm smart. I'm a Mason. I'm in the club. You know, all this other stuff. But this is what they do. Guardian of agreements. Fides was responsible for upholding agreements and treaties between individuals and the state. Temple on Capitoline Hill. Well, you know we finna go over to the Capitoline Triad. A temple dedicated to her existed on the Capitoline Hill, highlighting her significance. Let's just get into that. First, let's go here. Then we'll go to the Capitoline Triad. Capitoline Hill is the smallest but most significant of ancient Rome's 7 hills. Oh yeah, we finna go into some scripture. Historically serving as Rome's political and religious center. Today, it features the Capitoline Museums, Italy's first public museums, and the Piazza del Campidoglio. Got dog in there. A trapezoidal square designed by Michelangelo. The area of, so you see what I'm saying? These people were all satanic and demonic. And you wonder why. Look at the ground in that image. Look at the ground. What that look like, somebody? Come on, somebody. What do that look like?
Lotus flower.
Okay, what they call it though?
Or the flower of life. I don't know.
Flower of life. I wasn't really asking you, just so we, be clear. I don't know why he be thinking we be asking him. We trying to get the people an opportunity to win some prizes and all kind of stuff. You know, the mods, y'all, I really be wanting y'all to hold off on answering so that the people can think, y'all. The problem with the new age is that information is just given so freely. You don't have to work for it, so you don't value the information. So I need you to work your brain cells at the very bare minimum. All right. So let's go up here on Wikipedia real quick. Well, before we do that, kaput, man, when y'all understand what these words mean, ancient Rome. The hill was the religious and political heart of ancient Rome. Capitol Hill, y'all. Capitoline Hill. Capitol Hill. Same thing. Symbolized by the temple of Jupiter, which we're going to get into the Capitoline Triad, built by the Etruscan king Tarquinius Priscus. Caput Mundi. It became a symbol of Rome's reign as the capital of the world, a concept reflected in the central star pattern pavement of the current piazza or piazza. Tabularium. The tabularium, built in 78 BC, housed the public archives and laws of ancient Rome. Let's just do something else before we go into the Capitoline Hill. Look at this, y'all. Caput is a Latin word for head, used in English, particularly in anatomy, to refer to the head or head-like expansion on a structure. It can also mean the most prominent or main part of an organ or structure, a knob-like protuberance, my bad, or historically the ruling body of Cambridge University. All right, the head of a person or animal. All right, kaput, to cut off the head. Y'all got to understand that's what capitalism is about. Let's just see what they gonna say. Capitalism, an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit. Let's just get some etymology. The term capitalism comes from the word capital, which is derived from kaput, meaning head. The term capital evolved to mean funds, wealth, or assets used for production. I just wanted y'all to see that that's not what it means. This is how they change the meaning of a thing, but it still holds the root of it. Uncount me, decapitate, uncount me. Think about it. Everybody got a social security number, right? Okay. Let's go back to Capitoline Hill. The Capitolium or Capitoline Hill, um, between the Forum and the Campus Martius, the god Mars, is one of the seven hills of Rome. The hill was earlier known as Mons Saturnius, dedicated to the god Saturn. The word Capitolium first referred to the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus. Yeah, which was located on the hill. However, the meaning evolved to refer to the whole hill and even other temples of Jupiter on other hills. In an etymological myth, ancient sources connect the name to kaput, head or summit, because of the tale that stated when the foundations for the temple were being laid, y'all ready? A man's head was found. Don't be listen. If you're gonna question me, make sure you do your research because I did mine already. The Capitolium was regarded by the Romans as indestructible and was adopted as a symbol of eternity. I told you, listen, y'all, they definitions be one thing, but what end up being be a whole different other thing. So y'all better understand that. Y'all better understand that. Man, why won't my mouse keep disappearing on me? So this is what we dealing with. All right, 7 hills. Let's talk about this, right? Oh, I'm tripping. What do I want to use? KJV online. Ain't that the one with the apocryphal los? Or your savior?
Yeah,
Y'all can answer
yeah.
that question.
KJV online.
Let me just. It's probably something different.
No, it's King James version online.
Okay, hold on. King James Bible online. Yep. Something like that. Hey, look, we getting close. Um, yeah, let's just go with the standard because they got them weird letters and stuff in them. Just want to show y'all something real quick. When they talk about, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Rome is this place, this what is talked about in the devil in the Bible with Satan. And this is why when people be like, the white man wrote the Bible. No, he didn't, because if he did, he would have wrote himself out of it as the beast system.
Oh, if anybody got any questions about that, but we debunked that the other day on the Shabbat on where the word come from.
What word?
The word.
Oh, I got you. All right. So Revelation chapter 13. All right. I wish it had the actual the explanatory notes. Oh shoot. My fault. So, but we just gonna read it, right? So, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having how many heads that say right there, y'all? 7 heads and 10 horns. Oh, whoa, no. Take me back. to Chicago, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads sat the name of blasphemy. I pause for a second. So we kicking off Revelation. See, this is why it was written in code. It was written in code because the Most High already knew that everybody was gonna try to come do all of what they did, and this is why you got people talking about the white man wrote the Bible. So now we just read the 7 hills of Rome. So it says that the beast came up out of the sea having 7 heads and 10 horns. Let's just do this. What does the sea represent in Bible prophecy? Actually, it's in the scriptures. But I just want y'all to understand, I'm trying to get y'all there a little faster. No diddy. In biblical prophecy, the sea symbolizes the vast, tumultuous masses of disorganized people, nations, and multitudes. It represents the chaotic and rebellious powers of mankind, which are inherently restless and apart from God, and can be seen as a source of evil or a place where chaotic, rebellious powers emerge, such as the beast in Revelation. So I'm just showing y'all. This is the harlot who sat on many waters. That's what the scriptures say about this beast. But and it's gonna tell you about the harlot that sit on the beast, which is the Roman Catholic Church, is the harlot. But the beast is the power system. Beasts always represent. Think I'm lying? Hold on. It represents a government. What does beast represent in Bible prophecy? In biblical prophecy, especially in the book of Revelation, the beast represents a composite, tyrannical, worldwide political power that stands in opposition to God's kingdom. It symbolizes a system of evil, powerful governments and leaders, ultimately inspired by Satan, the dragon, that persecutes Christians and demands worship and allegiance from people attempting to usurp God's authority. So here we go again, y'all, dealing with this same concept. We keep seeing it, signs and symbols, all this other stuff. This is what is going on. No matter what nobody tell you, this is what it is. All right. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So you can kind of see, they depict the image of this thing, with all these different things going on, right? All right. So, and y'all gotta understand, those animals are attributed to him for a reason. Let me show you why, right? It said, and the beast I saw was like unto a leopard, right? And his feet were as the feet of a bear. What does a leopard represent, y'all?
Be
Well, that's really a cheetah. Well, we gonna. I think it's in Daniel, right? Yo, safe Los. Ain't that in Daniel where it really break down them beasts? What that Daniel chapter 7. All right, but we'll get into that. We gonna get back to that. And his feet was the feet of a bear, and his mouth is the mouth of a lion. You know what a lion's mouth gonna do? It's gonna break bones and all that. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wandered after the beast. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? This is how you know that this is a global power. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity will go into captivity. He that killed with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. That's letting you know, because this beast they gonna kill us. They gonna be chasing us down to kill us if we don't decide to integrate into this system. The stage has been set. Hold on one second. My fault. It got so cold in here. I had to cut that AC off. I'm like, man, I'm freezing. But y'all have to understand that this is what's gonna happen. The stage has been set already for the world, for the beast system to be implemented. It's here. Crypto is a part of it. Blockchain is a part of it. The new system is a part of it. Because now they can just turn your money off. If you don't comply, they can just shut down your digital wallet and don't let you buy or sell anywhere. It's a time coming like this. That's why I'm with all that other stuff. Get rich, get rich off crypto and all that other stuff. But hey, you better make sure you got some gold and silver. Because I guarantee you that's going to be the only thing that you're going to be able to buy with. Just like people buy stuff under the table with cash, they're going to be selling it under the table for gold and silver. Because they're going to be able to take their gold and silver and trade it in. This is why they tapping into all of the gold deposits around the world, to strip the earth of its wealth so that you have to submit to the beast system. All right, so listen at verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now, they say that this system represents, like America and, the Pope and the president, because the Pope and the president practically run the whole world. We're not talking about, I know that the president, he's just a puppet in the office, but that's why I said the dragon gave him his seat and his authority. Have to pay attention to what's being said here to understand that he got his power from the dragon. He don't have no power himself. So it came up like a lamb, right? It said, beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and it had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. What does a lamb represent, y'all? We got to answer this one real quick. Just give me some things. What do a lamb represent?
Innocence.
Peace.
Peace,
Salt.
purity, right? All that good stuff. But then it said, and he spake as a dragon. So if you think about it, again, and this is just how it was broken down to me, that this beast, right? Notice how the first beast came up out of what? Where did it come from up out of, y'all?
Came from out of the sea.
All right. Now, where this beast come from?
Earth.
The earth. It said, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. So if a sea means a densely populated area, what does the earth mean? Are y'all getting this work? It mean what?
Area.
A what?
A desolate area.
An area that's not as populated as the other areas. Absolutely. And he had two horns like a lamb. This, if you ask me, this sounds like it's talking about America. Because this whole country, came up out of the wilderness, right? And it was built off of godly principles like a lamb, but then it spake as the dragon. So that lets you know the character change there. And we always talk about how Christianity is the Bible mixed in with Greek philosophy. That's why they be saying the white man wrote the Bible. But they got the scrolls and then they got it translated by the sellout Masoretic scribes. They wrote the Septuaginta or the Septuagint for them, and more scriptures. They translated things over from the Hebrew into the Greek. These people were trying to get the spells that are written in the Bible, because the Bible is also full of spells. And the devil don't like it because those spells in the Bible tear down the walls to his kingdom. All right. Verse 12, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's why the Bible that's why they don't want you reading the Bible. So that when they start doing this stuff, you don't even know. You didn't read Revelation, so you didn't even know it was coming. This was written thousands of years before it happened. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. We're gonna talk about that wound by the sword. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Ain't Chat GPT talking back to you now? We're at the beginning, y'all. The beast system is now alive. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All they got to do is change the programming. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their hand, their right hand, or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark. Remember, they was doing you can't buy or sell without the mask. Just put an S right there where the R at. They were practicing. The pandemic was practiced, and they had the power. They killed so many people during the pandemic. If you think your loved ones died over that disease, I don't know what to tell you, because everybody I know that stayed home lived. You went to the hospital, you died. All right. Save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. What's his name? Because everybody, all of the Hotep brothers and sisters and the gods and goddesses of the earth, they talking about, oh, this just, let's just get this. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 600 threescore and 6. That is key G final stigma. Let's just so y'all know I ain't just out here flexing. It's actually stigma. Hold on. Hold on. My bad, y'all. I'm tripping. Chi G Sigma can refer to the Greek numeral Chi G Sigma, which represents the number 666. And we already showed you when you combine all these three together, man, I'm talking about, hold on, let's see if I could get it. I be spelling this stuff wrong sometimes, sometimes I spell it right. All right, let me just get some images, because right there. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. There we go. They just letting you know. Yeah, it's this is them, y'all. See? There you go. Key G stigma. Right there. There go your medical symbol. There go the mark of the beast. Notice it's a serpent going up a winding staff, y'all. It's real simple. Like once you understand the signs and symbols, then they can't fool you no more. And you see how his tail is wrapped around the yeah. Please understand. That's what we dealing with. That's exactly what we dealing with. And they depicted this in all their drawings. This is why people be like, oh, the white man did that. So going back, because I think the next chapter, this the 144,000. Babylon is falling. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna just Google this. A harlot that sits on many waters. That's what we looking for. That's 17. Okay. No, it was somewhere in there, but let's see. So here you go. Another angel was in heaven. He said, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. It's talking about the beast system, the Catholic Church. I'm going to show you, because we're going to talk about the wound that was healed. But I want because we gonna get to this. We gonna identify this beast tonight. That's what the spirit got us. Because we showing you the signs and the gestures how to identify when you see them out in public. When you see your favorite NBA player throwing up the devil sign like he just scored a shot and you like, yeah, rock on. Yeah, sir, hail Satan. That's what you're saying. All right. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Let me pause there, because now we got to break down the number of the beast, where this 666 come from. Even if it is 6 electrons, 6 protons, and 6 neutrons, please understand that and we just read about somebody who called themselves day, because we already know that, or Dio, which Dio, day, that is all God. God, see, Dio is in the Spanish, right? And then this is the Latin. And y'all already know that the Spanish came from the Latin, came from the Greek, came from the, shall I continue? All right. Vicarious Filii Dei. Let's just pull that up. Vicar Filii Dei is Latin for Vicar of the Son of God, a title not used by the Pope, but rather a claim made by some Protestant groups, particularly Seventh-day Adventists, in an attempt to link the Pope to the number of the beast, 666, from the book of Revelation. And it does mean them. While a Pope is the Vicar of Christ, come on, y'all. What do vicar mean? Vicarius Christi. Y'all, you remember, they always gonna flip it on you just so that they can, you feel me? Right? A real and official title that claim that Vicar Filii Dei is an actual papal title or is inscribed on papal regalia is a misrepresentation that gained traction in the 19th century and has been shown to be false by historical research. Who controls all of the historical research facilities, y'all? Who controls it?
The Rockefellers.
Who control them? See, y'all, that you see what I'm saying? Look at how many organized. I'ma just tell you where they say all roads lead to.
Wrong.
The peace.
Why y'all think they say that? Why y'all think they say all roads lead to Rome? Y'all think that just a you know,
That because it's
Roman
Satan's throne.
rule.
because it's Satan's throne. Absolutely. Thank you. Because it's Satan's throne. So look, the claim that Vicar Filii Dei is an official title or appears on a papal tiara or mitre is a long-standing anti-Catholic assertion. Let's be clear. One of the first popes, I forget his name. He is the one who actually had the inscription. So he, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think of what his name was. Man, it'll come back to me. Yo, Safe, maybe you can help me out with that. But let's just figure out what that means, right? Vicarious Filii Dei. Let's figure it out, because they're gonna always give. All right, translates to substitute, supplying the place of someone. So vicarious means substitute or in the place of. Filii is son and Dei is God. So if he call himself Vicarius Christi, what is he saying?
He's trying to replace God.
He in the place of Christ, the Son of God. Like, you got to be smarter. Like, you can literally see. Look, the earliest known instance of the phrase Vicarious Filii Dei is in the donation of Constantine, now dated between the 8th and 9th centuries AD. Let's just we might as well. We might as well. The donation of Constantine is a forged Roman imperial decree by which the 4th century Emperor Constantine the Great supposedly transferred authority over Rome and the western part of the Roman Empire to the Pope. Hey, y'all, all you got to do is dig. Composed probably in the 8th century. So Constantine took the divine right of kings, right, and transferred that over to the divine right of the Pope. And think about it. What happened in this time? What did they do? Do y'all remember? Do anybody remember? Not in this time, but you know what happened within this span of this Roman organization.
Crusade.
the Council of Nicaea. Y'all got to understand, why was Constantine trying to unite papal Rome with Christian Rome? Greek Rome with Christian Rome. Remember, they weren't Greeks, they were the Hellenes. The Romans called them Greeks. But they always refer to as the Greco-Roman Empire. Same power structure. Same, y'all. Different group of people. Same power structure. So you already seeing that Vicarius Felidae, but the 13th century fresco of Sylvester the First, all right, Pope Sylvester, that's him, was the Bishop of Rome from 31 January 314 until his death on 31 December 335. All right, I'm just saying. And if you know anything about math, you will see what you just saw with his death. He filled the see of Rome at an important era in the history of the Western Church, though very little is known of his life. This is the guy who was invested the title Vicarius Felidae. Now let's see, what do the Rome call a place? The Holy
Vatican.
See. The Holy See. The Bible said a beast came up out of the sea wearing scarlet. What color is scarlet? Are we gonna get to the bottom of this?
Red.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Now, you know, they say that I knew they was gonna hit me with the white. But y'all know what they do. We know what they do. The cardinal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He dressed in them colors, scarlet. The harlot that sit on many waters is the Roman Catholic Church. I don't know what else to tell you. Look at that. Derived from the scarlet worm, it symbolizes both sin and redemption, representing the blood of Christ and the sacrifice that cleanses sin, as seen in Isaiah, where sins are compared to scarlet robes. Right? But look at this. Scarlet also conveyed power and importance, seen in the priestly garments and robes of the great harlot in Revelation. Let's get that. Where is the beast? Let me see. And I'm gonna show you. Yeah, it was Daniel 7, like I said. My brain a little slow right now. I'm going to HTML Bible because, man, look, it'd be so easy for me to just do it on HTML Bible. I like reading from the other one, but to get better understanding, because we know about this beast. Um, um, so let's just break this down, right? So listen at this, y'all. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. All right, so this was a lion with the eagle's wings, right? And he was stood up on his feet, and a man's heart was given to it. All right, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, y'all got to understand, this is talking about the Greco-Roman Empire. And I'm going to break that down in a short. I'm talking about we getting a little deeper than I initially thought we was. Verse 7, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. Iron should be a clue. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. Oh, 10 horns. That's giving us some clues here. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Now let's pause, because y'all, this what y'all was waiting on. The breakdown for. So we gonna go online. A verse by verse breakdown of Daniel 7. We ain't gonna do the whole thing. We gonna go from verse 1. Yeah, just 1 to 8. Now we gonna go to 9, just because it's till the thrones was cast down. Because those were thrones, those were dominions, right? So I should have actually kind of did this before I Googled it, to just break it down for y'all. But these are the 4 kingdoms. But I'm about to show you the symbolism, because Daniel talked about this in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, which I believe was what was that, chapter 3? Let me see. What was that, chapter 2? Yeah, it was chapter 2. So in chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream of a statue. All right. And he told all his people, like, hey, y'all interpret my dream without me telling you. And they like, nobody can do that, sir. And he started killing folks. Man, I'll kill everybody then, since y'all can't interpret I'm the king. Interpret my dream without me telling you. They like, no man can interpret your dream. So they sent for Daniel, a man who was, a servant of the Most High God, right? And so, okay, so let me just, so he went and left. Daniel left. He came to the king. He told him, give me some time. I'm going to interpret the dream for you. Daniel left, and this is when Daniel came back. All right. So it says, then Arioch, brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the oh, no, I'm sorry. This is when he actually told him, let me just read this, because it's a flex. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king have demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king? He asked, he flexing on him, man, what, they can't show you, all your appointed men with all this, they can't tell you. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king kept Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream, oh, okay, this was when he came back, my bad, y'all. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into my mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. So he's letting him know that the king was thinking what should come to pass after my kingdom. And then the Most High gave him a dream. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. So he letting them know, like, hey, this ain't revealed to me for anything that, like, for me to be more than anybody or greater than anybody. That's not what this is revealed to me for. But it's revealed to me, right? For who? Right? For but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king. It's for the sake of the ones. Why? Because they the servants of God, and it's going to make them look like they're much better, which even the scriptures tell you that the men that the Daniel and them, the Israelite men were 10 times smarter than all of the other people in their kingdom. All right, so look at what is being said. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible or great. That's just what that means. All right, that's just to fear, make afraid, dreadful, fearful, terrible. We say great because it's just like, oh my God, that is great. It leaves you in awe, right? And look at what it says about it, whose brightness was excellent. The image's head was of fine gold, his breast and arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon the feet that were of iron and clay, and break them into pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like chaff or chaff of the summer threshing floor. This stuff just blown away. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Hey, that's the kingdom of God. Spoiler alert. This is the dream, and I will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. We got to go through this, y'all, to get understanding, because this is telling you about even the times we living in right now, straight out of the Bible. Ain't no other book on the planet that does this. None. I don't care. Bring it and show me then. Because I ain't seen one and I done read them all. In this much detail of each kingdom. All right. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven have given thee a kingdom, power, and strength and glory. So the kingdom of Babylon, this was one of the most powerful kingdoms on the earth. That's why it represented the head of gold. That's why it represented the lion with wings on his back, because a lion is the king of the jungle. And the wings on the back represents its ability to go out to distant places and conquer. Because Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom was from one end of the earth to the other, which means it was the whole earth. So don't let them lie to you and tell you they ain't know about over here. They just discovered it with Christopher Columbus and all this nonsense. They knew about all of the earth. It wasn't a secret. It's only a secret to, people who really just don't know and ain't trying to find out. All right. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh into pieces and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. Now, pay attention. Remember what we talking about. The kingdom of iron. So you got gold, the breast, what it said, the king of gold, which is Nebuchadnezzar, the head, right? And then after these, another kingdom, right, inferior to thee. Why does it represent silver coming down from the neck to where the beginning of the abdomen is? What if you took your neck and the beginning of your abdomen, or the beginning of where your stomach, where your chest ends, right? What two things are there? What are two things that are in that space on your body?
Throat and heart.
Your heart and your bladder.
Nope. Yeah, but no. Incorrect. Not the correct answer. You're right, but incorrect. Because y'all going inside the body. Let's just look at the outside of the body, because he ain't see the inside of the body. It's symbolism. He saw a head of gold, a chest area from the neck down to the bottom of the chest was all silver. So that means that the chest and what else was silver?
The stomach.
No, that's
The
below
navel,
the chest.
the navel and the nipples.
What's connected? What else is connected to the chest, y'all?
The
I mean,
booby.
it ain't directly connected to your chest, but it's right there on the same level, the connection. All you gotta do is look at your body.
Neck.
Your arms, your
I
two
said nipples.
arms.
The
No, your
arms.
two arms.
Arms.
Now,
Ah,
what was the kingdom that came after Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom? The the Medes and the Persians. It was two countries together, the Medes and the Persians. This is where you get. That's why the breastplate, the chest and the arms. Let's just get a image of that. I know I ain't gonna spell it right, but I don't even care. I'm just gonna type it. It's gonna give it to me. So now they still went a little they went a little too low with the silver, y'all. It said because it say if we read it right, look at what it say. It say, hold on, let me just move these over a little bit. So it said the image's head was of gold, his breasts and arms of silver. See, all you had to do was, that's why the answer we was giving you already. Breasts and arms of silver, the Medes and the Persians. His belly and his thighs of brass. So that's the belly and the thighs were brass. That's the Greco. And his legs of iron. So we know that past the thighs, this is the iron. That's the Roman Catholic. And his feet, part of iron and part of clay, which represents a divided kingdom. We gonna get into that because this is all breaking this down, y'all. This is way long. I'm telling y'all, but the spirit got me here, so I'm gonna be obedient. All right. So, and whosoever the children, we already know now. So iron breaketh into pieces and bruise, and then we're gonna get back to Daniel 7 before we move on to breaking down, because we got to deal with those three horns that was plucked up. We got to know what's going on. I'm telling you, the Bible is the only book on the planet that breaks this down, but it's given to you in symbolism. Now, some of the symbolism, they got it right. Some of it, they got it wrong. All right. So in the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron. We did that as it break together and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron. Listen to this. The kingdom shall be divided. We watching this, y'all, right now. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And that's the kingdom we in right now. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, and even as iron is not mixed with clay. Giving you some clues here. And in the days of these kings shall the gold of the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. That's what it talked about, the casting down of the thrones. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, brass, clay, silver, gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. Because he was wondering that while he was sitting on his bed. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then the king of Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshiped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. He worshiped Daniel like he was a god. Hey, but listen to what Daniel said. The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. The king then the king made Daniel a great man. So the same thing happened with Moses and Pharaoh. Moses made God made Pharaoh. I mean, I'm sorry. God, I'm confused here, y'all. Forgive me. God made Moses a god to Pharaoh. And the Most High did the same thing to Daniel. But I think I might be mixing this up with another scripture where he said, "Give your gifts to another." That was actually Nebuchadnezzar's son, or his grandson, when he came in, and that's when his kingdom was destroyed. The Medes and the Persians came in that night and took over just as it was told. And then the Greco Empire, the belly of brass going down into the thighs, they came in and ruled. And I'm gonna break that down for you in 1 second. Let me just finish this out. So then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon. Remember, he said, I'm interpreting this dream for you for the sake of the ones who interpret in the dream for you. And look at what happened. He became the ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Now he done went from living in his shack to interpreting the king's dream, and now he is the ruler of the whole province of Babylon. Won't he do it? I'm just trying to tell you, that's the type of God that I serve, and he will take. So that's what I'm saying. You be in your little corner in the back, but you being loyal and faithful. He said, "Be faithful over a few things, I make you ruler over many." And so you see in Daniel, and not only did Daniel become a ruler, but he went and got his homies. Hey, Los, yo, safe. They didn't, we gotta go get over here, bro. We about to be ruling. All right, so let's get back to Daniel 7 real quick, because I want to because we already know what we dealing with now. So we already know that the first beast, right, was a lion with the eagle's wings, right? We know that, and it was a man of a heart. A man's heart was given to it. We already know who we dealing with. All right, the second, like a bear, came up, right? It had 3 ribs in his mouth, because it done ate up 3 generations of kings. But it said, "Arise, devour much flesh." So after this, I behold, lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast also had 4 heads, and was given unto it. So we already know that's the Greco. So watch this. Let me show you those 4 heads. Because y'all know Alexander the Greek had the four prominent Diadochi, however you pronounce it, successors who divided Alexander the Great's empire after his death were Antigonus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. Y'all should know about Ptolemy. It's Ptolemy, but I say Ptolemy just to be petty. Ptolemy, this is where you get that fake image of God from. Watch this, of Christ. Serapis Christus. Serapis Christ refers to theories claiming the Greco-Egyptian deity Serapis is the origin of Jesus Christ, a claim that lacks valid historical or manuscript evidence and is rejected by historical and Christian sources. Serapis was a god of the underworld, fertility, and healing, created to unify Greek and Egyptian cultures. I told y'all the Greeks got it from the Egyptians. So whatever the Greeks is doing, the Egyptians was doing. If you one of them Egyptian and Egyptologist people, ancient Kemites and all that other stuff, yeah, they were doing the same wicked stuff that the Greeks was doing, because they taught the Greeks. All right. So Serapis was a god of the underworld, fertility, and healing, created to unify Greek and Egyptian cultures, while Jesus is a central figure in Christianity, a belief centered on salvation through his death and resurrection. Now watch this. Serapis is a composite deity merging the Egyptian god Osiris and the sacred bull Apis, introduced by who? Yeah, one of his 4 generals, Ptolemy the First. So I'm showing y'all the Bible broke this down, not no other book, of Egypt to foster unity between Greeks and Egyptians. They was converting the Egyptians, y'all. Y'all know they came in there with the sword. They ain't coming there with no peace and love. He was depicted as a bearded human-like figure with Greek appearance, and he had a water bucket on his head, right? But Egyptian but Egyptian symbols representing the afterlife, healing, and fertility. He was a supreme deity, a patron of sailors, and eventually considered a redeemer god according to World History Encyclopedia. Serapis Christ. That's what we already know. Christos means the anointed one. Serapis, the anointed one. That is where that false image of the Messiah come from. Let's see if they'll give us the statue. There you go, right there. What he got on his head, y'all? A bucket of water. Wearing a modius. That's what they say. What is a modius? Is a type of flat top cylindrical headdress. That's what they say, but that ain't the one, because they got one of him actually with the water being poured out of here. But that's a whole nother conversation. Like I say, you got to go deep into some of this stuff, because y'all got to remember the when it comes to, and you see right here, Usir Apis, right there. That's Usir, right? Osiris, Usir, or Asar is how they, would say. But, whatever. I don't want to get into nobody's argument about that. But I'm just saying, some of these people be talking all kind of crazy and they never did their work, the due diligence. But as you can see, we're showing you live in effect. But and you see the Koine Greek, which was what the Bible was translated into from Hebrew, and there go his name in hieroglyphs. So if it was ever a question, there you have it. Serapeum of Alexandria, because they were the ones who took over Alexander the Greek's kingdom. So there, and look, let's just break it down. Let's keep these 4 men, among other generals, fought to gain control of the vast territories after Alexander died in what? 323 BCE. Not AD, y'all, but 323 BCE. So just giving you, eventually leading to the formation of their own what? Hellenistic kingdoms. The Hellenes. That's what we talking about. The Hellenes, not the Greeks. Because that came from, we already know that, you see, they ain't say nothing about Greek in this passage. Hellenistic, because they were the Hellenes, not the Greeks. The Romans gave them the name of the Greeks. So now we know the leopard, it had 4 heads and dominion was given to it. Alexander the Great had to die to give them the dominion, for them to get the dominion. Let's see something real quick. Nah, that ain't important for us to see what was divided up. All right. Now, then it says a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. That give it away right there, because the 4th beast was iron. It devoured and brake into pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the other beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. Now, we about to get into this. But let's first talk about, why was it diverse, and what do it mean that it devoured and brake into pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it? What do that mean? It went and conquered the whole earth, didn't they? The Pope issued the papal bull, and they went and conquered the whole earth behind this beast. This was after Alexander the Greek's kingdom going into the Roman Empire, Constantine and all them other folks. So it conquered the world, right? And it devoured and broke stuff into pieces, and it stamped the residue with the feet. This beast took away your culture, it took away everything, and it destroyed it completely. It stamped out the residue so that no parts of your memory would remain of your cultures, and they assimilated everybody into Christianity. This is why I don't claim to be a Christian, because we understand that Christianity is, it got some Bible scriptures in it, but it's Greek philosophy. Majority of Greek concepts and philosophy, not the things that are in the scriptures. And this is why people say the white man wrote the Bible, even though he didn't. All right. So he stamped out the residue with his feet. He took away your culture. That's why he was divided. All the other beasts, they let you keep your culture. They didn't. You see, Daniel was still able to pray. The only time it became a problem is when he had to bow down to a statue when Nebuchadnezzar made that law. And the Most High delivered him. And the same thing with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They wouldn't bow down to the statue, so they threw them in the furnace and realized, man, let's not play. See, all this stuff happened just for these other kingdoms to know that this particular group of people is tapped in with the Most High. And just because I gave you into their hands, it don't mean that they ain't tapped into the Most High. All right, but look at this and what it say. So it had 10 horns, and it says, I considered the horns. And behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. Let's pause for a second, because now I got to give y'all the sauce on that. What is this 10 horns? And you know, 3 of them was plucked up, and then a great horn appeared where the 3 were plucked up at. Hopefully I got this image still, because I wasn't planning on this, y'all. I promise I wasn't. I think it's in my downloads, because I don't see it in the let's see, PDFs. Streets. Nah, let me just look at my downloads. Group by kind. Hopefully I can find this quickly. I only got like 133 photos in here. So it ain't that much. Cause we gonna get this work today. You know, messing with me, you gonna get this work anyways, cause y'all know what I'm truly here for. I don't mind, we here to help with all this other stuff, but I know some people not into this Bible stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't trying to force it on you, but this is just where the spirit has led us. Okay, it ain't in there. Hopefully it's in my phone. Cause once we look, let me see. It should be in my favorites. One second, y'all. Favorites. Dang, I can't believe it ain't in here. Hold on. I'm gonna get this because I got it. Just give me 1 second. I got this. And it should be on my computer. This is tripping me out because ain't no way that this should not be on my computer. Cause I showed this plenty of times already to y'all. Let me just make sure it ain't in another folder real quick. 10 Viking tribes. Yeah, it's going dang, I'm so mad about this. Let me go. All right, the 10 Viking. Oh wow, I didn't even spell that. They always look. It's supported by historical, um, you know, evidence. They like the Viking is not a tribe; it's an activity. They be killing me, y'all. I promise, they be killing. Hold on, let's see. Cause the other phone that got. Oh, my bad. I know where it's at. I keep forgetting I changed phones, and so hold on 1 second. Stuff like to hide and come up missing, boy, when you doing stuff like this. But I'm so determined that yeah. Hopefully this phone ain't dead, cause the one that actually got the photo in it is dead. Oh, it's not dead. So cool. I'm just gonna share this over. So bear with me, y'all. I'm powering up the phone now. We just gonna share this over to the screen so that y'all can see. And this time we gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put a lot of these resources up tomorrow. Go ahead and put that on the long list of 1,000 things that I gotta do. Please and thank you. Give me one more second, y'all. We gonna show you. All right, it's loaded. Let me just grab this thing so I can send it over. Albums, favorites. Dang, it's not there. What? This is crazy. I don't know how this stuff is not in this phone. Might be in another folder. Let me just make sure. Go all the way up. And the reason why I like the particular photo, I can find all this information on the internet. But the photo was a screenshot that I took from a video because he actually, he put them side by side. And I literally, I used to have it all by heart. But I have these little issues sometimes, and it just be like that, y'all. Like my brain, it be so much information in my mind trying to hold on to every little thing is it's not impossible, but it can get very, very difficult to hold all this information in your head because we talking about decades of study and it's so much more to continue learning and it's never ending and that's why like even with some of this status correction stuff and all that other stuff that we be dealing with um it be difficult. So I'm telling you I understand how it can be because there has been so many lies told. But the reason why they telling all these lies is to make sure that you confuse and that you don't never come into the truth. That's the whole concept of all of these lies. And we might have to wait for this other phone to just charge up real quick, and we'll still kind of move forward and list them. But I just like that image, man. I can't believe I can't find it on this computer because I know we pulled this up again. But y'all, I'm telling y'all, I be fake under attack. I know it sound crazy, like Marvel just be making up stuff. But I really be feeling like that type of way. But no, I don't see it at all. And I know it was in like my 2017 stuff. All right. So I'm almost over here getting text messages.
I posted something in the chat. Was that what you were talking about?
Hold on, let me see. Yes, where you get that from?
Oh, it's in my NEI documents. So I
In
probably
your documents?
no, I probably clipped it from
Oh,
another
okay.
class.
Thank you. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Let me download this. Golly. I appreciate you, woman. I'm gonna make sure I save this as 10 Viking tribes. They were Viking is an activity. That's not a tribe. So my bad, y'all. So before we even go into the 10 tribes, because now that we got that, all right. Um, how many countries in Rome? Oh, that ain't gonna do it. Hold on. Nah, y'all gotta understand because they're talking about the modern stuff and it's just so hard, y'all, like to just get the internet to tell the truth. That's why I be telling y'all, just because it's on Google don't mean it's the truth. You got to go deeper than that because they're gonna make sure that the algorithm presents you a lie so that they can continue to propagate. I could almost see the Bible study stuff right behind this. So I already know we was on one of these classes. But look at this. So the 10 tribes, the Alemanni became the Germans. The Burgundians became the Swiss. The Franks became the French. The Lombards were the Italians. The Saxons, y'all know the Anglo-Saxons became the English because Anglo. All right. The Suevi became the Portuguese and the Visigoths became the Spanish. Now, we can see you got the Heruli, the Ostrogoths, and the Vandals. These were the, I could have, I remember these three off back, but it's really these seven because they're still in existence. These three were snuffed out, and we gonna find out why. We gonna find out why. So the Heruli, the Ostrogoths, and the Vandals, those are the three horns that were plucked up. The beast that came, the Roman Catholic beast, you notice it got 10 horns and 10 crowns. Well, these were kings. Them horns represents power and authority. So those are 10 kings. 3 of them were plucked up, and one came up with a horn with eyes like a man speaking great blasphemies, or great things is what it said, but it was blasphemies that it was speaking. And part of that blasphemy is vicarious filii in place of the Son of God and all that other stuff that they just tried to say is not true. So watch this. Let's real quick, because we know that this ain't give us nothing. How did the Heruli, Ostrogoths, y'all know the Gothic people, and Vandals become extinct? The Heruli, Ostrogoths, and Vandals became extinct or disappeared due to conquest by other powers and subsequent assimilation. The Heruli were overrun by Attila the Hun and later destroyed by the Lombards. The Vandal kingdom was destroyed by the Byzantine general Belisarius in 533 CE, and the Ostrogothic kingdom in Italy was conquered by the Byzantine Empire in 554 CE. Over time, their distinct cultures and political entities were absorbed into larger populations, leading to their disappearance as separated groups. The Heruli were an East Germanic people who were first overrun by Attila the Hun and later largely destroyed by invading Lombards in the early 6th century. Y'all know about the 6th century. That's when our boy we'll get there later. The kingdom of the Heruli disappeared by the mid-6th century, likely destroyed by rival tribes or assimilated by Slavic and Avar groups. We know the Slavic was the slaves. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna do something else because I want to show what they actually did real quick. All right. The attempted takeover of bam. But listen at this, y'all. This is what they say. They say they didn't act together, right? But the Heruli, Vandals, and Ostrogoths did not act together in a single attempt to take over the Roman Empire. So they're going to tell you the truth, but they're going to sway it a little bit. They were distinct Germanic groups that established successor kingdoms in former Roman territories and were later conquered or assimilated, often turning against each other in the process. And I'm telling you, this was seized in Italy, the Heruli, under the leaders Odoacer, were part of a federated army of Germanic mercenaries in Italy. They mutinied after their demands for land were refused, overthrew the Western Roman Emperor Romulus Augustulus, and installed Odoacer as king. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, effectively ending the Western Roman Empire. So I'm just showing you this is what they did, y'all. The Vandals were a Germanic tribe that established a powerful kingdom in North Africa and became a dominant naval power in the Mediterranean. Migration and conquest of North Africa. Fleeing the Huns, the Vandals crossed. So I'm just showing y'all they definitely tried to do a coup. All right, a coup d'etat. That's what these folks tried to do. So again, we know what history is. They try to, and then they'll say, oh, we don't got no record of that. We don't go off y'all records. All right, so let's get back to that scripture real quick. All right, so we can get a little bit more sense. So now we know that it had 10 horns, this beast, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, this horn were eyes like the eyes of man and a mouth speaking great things. Let me show y'all who that was. We already went over this. Can anybody tell me who it was before we get there? I might give you 50% off or something. It's too late. We already got there. Y'all slow. All right. So one horn stood up. The donation of Constantine is a forged Roman imperial decree by which the 4th century emperor, so we already know, around this time, this was the Constantine um empire, right? So the 4th century emperor Constantine the Great supposedly transferred authority over Rome and the western part of the Roman Empire to the Pope. Composed probably in the 8th century, it was used especially in the 13th century in support of claims of political authority by the papacy. And we know about the papal bull, how they took over, whatever the case may be. But this is what took place. This was the great horn was the king of the Roman Catholic Church. That's what that horn was that came up in the place of the three. The Roman Catholic Church, the 8th king is a Roman Catholic. Let me just see if they gonna tell us who is the 8th king. In Revelation 17, the 8th king is not a separate power, but a description of the beast itself, which is both the 8th king and one of the 7 kings. Oh, the 2 horns, that we was talking about, the lamb that spake as a dragon and called the whole world to wander after the first beast, destined for destruction. The beast represents a resurrected political power or empire, likely a revived Roman Empire. What happened to the Roman Empire, y'all? Because remember, it said the beast had the deadly wound was healed. Let's just talk about what was the deadly wound of the beast that was healed. The deadly wound of the beast described in Revelation 13 was a fatal injury to one of his 7 heads, which symbolized a powerful ruling power or empire or a specific ruler within it. The wound was not a literal physical injury to a human head, but rather a catastrophic blow to a kingdom or government, which was then deceptively healed or restored, causing the whole world to marvel and follow the revived power. Now, they gonna tell you a whole bunch of different stuff, and I ain't gonna argue with them about it because it ain't given unto them to know, right? I'm trying to think of what I want to phrase this as so that we can try to get it, right? Oh, what was the Protestant Reformation? Let's do it. The Protestant Reformation was a 16th century religious and political movement that split Catholic Europe, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church and leading to the formation of Protestant denominations. Key figures like Martin Luther questioned the church's practices, such as the sale of indulgences, advocating for salvation through faith alone, and emphasizing the Bible as the sole authority. The movement, aided by the printing press, led to wars, the Counter-Reformation, and significantly shaped modern political and religious landscapes, including religious freedom in the United States. If you already took the 508c1a faith-based organization, then you already know about this. But we're going to just go a little bit into it. All right. And that's in the community, completely complimentary. What was it? A 16th century religious, political, intellectual, and cultural movement that brought an end to the Catholic Church's religious unity in Western Europe. It challenged the authority of the Pope and the Catholic Church's teachings and practices. It resulted in the formation of Protestant churches and denominations. Key figures and ideas. Martin Luther initiated the Reformation in 1517 by publishing his 95 Theses, which criticized the corrupt practice of selling indulgences, certificates of pardon for sins. Meaning people was going out killing folks, right? raping little girls, and then they coming to the Pope like, forgive me for Father, I have sinned. And he like, your sins are absolved. Drop 50 gold coins in the basket. Yeah, boy, you're gonna be destroyed if you fail for that. Sorry. And you can't even come back from it. Luther believed salvation was a gift from God received through faith, not through good deeds or purchased pardons. Other key reformers included John Calvin, who systemized Protestant doctrine with ideas like predestination, and Henry VIII, who led England's break from the Catholic Church. When you're dealing with the 508c1a, that is the King Henry VIII Trust. That's what they call it. He became, you got to understand, they became the Church of England. And guess what? What two powers are ruling? The crown and the Roman Catholic Church. The queen just died in the coronavirus, which is the crown virus. Listen, the judgment is on this place. Judgment is on this place, whether you know it or not. And again, the only book that I have ever seen that break this stuff down is the Bible. Period. I'm talking about in detail. It tell you about the three kings. They gonna be plucked up. The one gonna come. It tell you about everything. They gonna destroy your history. They gonna take your culture away and assimilate you into their culture, because they are an image and a representation of the one world government. One religion. If you notice, that's the modern thing. Let's hold on. Let's hold on. I might be spelling it wrong because I ain't looking at the screen. All right. Because it was more than this, right? So look, no poverty. All right. In poverty in all its forms. This the 2030 goals. This is how you know we pushing up on this beast system. Zero hunger. This is just them subduing all of the land. Look, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Oh, y'all, that agriculture ain't sustainable by our standards, so you can't do it. That's what's coming. It seemed like good things, but it's not. Good health and well-being. This is that well-being for all ages. This is that globalized healthcare that they about to bring in. Quality education. We already know what this is. This is going to be the same program for everybody. Gender equality. Men can do what women can do. Women can do what men can do. Clean water and sanitations. They're going to seize all of the springs. Oh, we got to seize these springs in the name of safety because the people, if this water is contaminating us, we got to make sure we got clean water. It's a scam. Affordable and clean energy. Yeah, we're going to make everything solar. We're going to get rid of all this bad stuff because they want everything electric anyway so that they can turn you off. And I'm not talking about sexually. All right. Decent work and economic growth. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth. Sustainable with that. Full and productive employment and decent work for all. Yeah, this is that unified system that it sounds good. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Build resilient infrastructure. Promote inclusive and sustainable. Do y'all know that to run things like ChatGPT, they said that computer system, I wish Morgan was here right now. That computer system can power millions of homes or that facility with the amount of power that they using. And I saw it somewhere, but I just didn't save it. And I'm not finna go looking for it because sometimes it'd be hard to find. Reduced inequalities. That's a whole thing. That's going into countries that's lesser and taking over. Oh, just let us come down here and we gonna boost y'all stuff so that y'all can live life like Americans do. Everybody live like Babylon. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. The only way they're gonna be able to do this, that means that they're gonna have to take over everything in order to pass laws where, hey, y'all, this gotta be sustainable to our standards. Responsible consumption and production. Hey, yeah, you can only have 3 meals a day and it's going to consist of this, and we're going to make a food that's going to give you all your minerals. Climate action. Take urgent action to combat climate change. Y'all already know global warming is a farce. Yes, they're destroying the environment. That is real. Life below the water, conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine, because they dumping all the garbage into the ocean and into landfills. So this is what is they're gonna try to control everything. And the next is what? Life on land. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. 16, promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Please understand. One world government. Partnership. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. It's called the Sustainable Development Goals, y'all. And it sounds good, like I say, but this is what they own. They're on that. Remember Agenda 21? All this, man, it's the same stuff that they've been pushing, the same stuff. And they got the progress on how they implementing this stuff. Progress report, you go right to the website and see it. You ain't got to take my word for it. But hopefully you can understand the undertones that's being said in this whole demonstration. So just breaking that down for y'all, man, that was a great build. I'm glad we got an opportunity to do that. Talking about this beast system and even showing you how the Bible prophesied that these things would happen, but it was put in a way where you couldn't even understand the interpretation. Almighty God, y'all at work, because already the Most High knew what they was gonna do. These people was reading this stuff, not really understanding. It's talking about y'all wicked selves and what y'all about to do. And that's what we watch. The Vikings and the Danes, the Danish. We know what happened with them. That's who became they. Like, why y'all think it's so much pagan tradition? Pagan tradition come from the Vikings, from Norse. Hold on, are the Norse people the Vikings? Oh, say no. Not all Norse people were Vikings. What I meant to say was, are the Vikings? Hold on, let's do that better. They'll be trying to say, yes, the Vikings were Norse people from Scandinavia, modern day Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, who participated in raiding, trading, and exploration during the Viking Age. The term Norse refers to the broader Scandinavian people, while Viking describes a specific activity or role, such as a seafaring warrior or raider. People who run in and steal all the stuff. Therefore, all Vikings were Norse, but not all Norse people were Vikings. All right. So I'm glad we got that part of, went a Viking, like, whatever. So we see what that is. So who were the first? Wait, let me open a new tab. We're gonna save this. Uh ah, So let's just read it. There were no first pagans, but rather the term paganism described, which it had to be a first, but anywho, describes a collective, ancient, and diverse array of pre-Christian and non-Abrahamic religions, including Greco-Roman, Celtic, and Germanic faiths, right? We already know these was the Germans, as well as animistic and nature-based spiritual practices that develop independently across different cultures and time periods. The word pagan originated as an external, often derogatory label used by Christians to describe those who practice these traditional beliefs, so followers of those religions did not use the term for themselves. Um, Animism, right? The early nature of pagan beliefs. The earliest forms of pagan belief are often considered to be animism, which involves a reverence for nature and the spiritual essence in all living things. Now, I got a respect for nature. I don't necessarily have a reverence for it, but I have a respect for nature and all living things, which is nothing wrong with that. But again, these people worshiped animals.
Yeah, that word reverence.
It lets you know the difference. My fault. Let me clear my throat. All right. Polytheism. Polytheistic religions, which worship multiple gods and goddesses, developed from these earlier animistic practices, such as the ancient Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and Greco-Roman traditions. Um, that's that thing there. But think about it, right? If the Roman Catholic Church was running everything, right? Then why are there's a aesthetic. So it says the days of the week are named after celestial bodies or gods originating from the ancient Babylonians, who named them after the sun, the moon, and 5 visible planets. The names were adopted by the Romans, and later Germanic peoples in northern Europe adopted these names but substituted the corresponding Norse gods for Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus. This resulted in the following origins for the English days of the week. Now, why is it that y'all got to understand, why is it that we still got Norse days of the week when the Roman Catholic Church? Because it's the same, it's mystery Babylon. It's the same ancient mystery religion system. That's why. Why you think they didn't change it? If Rome was so Christian, why would they keep Norse gods in they days of the week? Sunday and Monday are named after the sun and the moon, while Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are named after the Norse gods, right? Tu or Tyre, right, which is Tuesday. Odin, which is where you get Odin's day. That's why it's spelled Wednesday, like Wednesday.
Hey, put the
Odin
screen up, bro.
day. Huh?
Put the screen up.
Screen is up, bro.
No, the window,
What window?
the internet window, your box.
What?
Pull the window up or maximize it.
Oh, okay. Zoom in because you like pull the screen up. You don't see this on the screen, bro. Go to
Now you can because you scrolled up, but you got your window is down. If you
nah,
look at
but I'm reading what's on the screen. I'm not reading nothing that's off screen. Like
mm.
I just read. Look, I just read from right here. Look, Wednesday, Thursday. Look, Odin. Like you
I
see.
heard you, but I'd like to see it. I'd like to read it too, my brother. I'd like to
Nah,
read
I
it.
got you. I'm saying it was on the screen. Did everybody else see it? I just want to be clear
You
that
have the actual screen, the window is pulled down. If you pull the actual window up, then we'll be able to see everything.
Hey, that's what I told him. But I think you probably need a woman to tell him.
nah,
Yeah.
she explained it a little bit. I didn't know what you was like. So y'all not. It's crazy, bro. Let me show y'all what I see. Hold on. First, I need to get my mouse to appear again. I'm gonna screenshot the meeting for you just so you can see
No,
what
that window just need to be pulled up some. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's all you gotta do is pull
That's
the
it. Just pull
window
that
you
up.
same
talking
way.
about this window.
Yes.
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 Yes, nigga.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you telling me y'all couldn't see none of this stuff that was
Not
just
all of it. When you got you scrolling down, no, we couldn't see some of that stuff, bro.
Right. You gotta scroll down in order for us to see
the
what
reason
else
I'm
we
saying it, but look, I gotta show y'all just real quick. I just want to show you my Zoom because I'm not even reading it from the screen. I'm reading it from the Zoom window. That's what because it shows me exactly what y'all see. You see that on the screen? I'm
Right.
literally reading it, so it showed all of this. That's why I'm confused. So that's why that's all, bro. I ain't trying to I'm trying to get some understanding. But again, wet right here, Odin's. This is Odin. It looked like it say Wednesday, but that's Odin's day. Thursday, that represents Thor. And Friday represents Frigg or Freya, which is Odin's wife. And Saturday is the only day named directly after the Roman god of agriculture, Saturn. So why would the Catholic Church, with all the power that they have, keep this structure? Because that Roman Catholic Church, which is what they came from the Greeks, they got it from the Egyptians, all that Christianity stuff, right? That's what we dealing with. Mystery Babylon. Christianity, and I know some of y'all finna be mad at me for saying this, but I'm gonna say it because it's the truth. Christianity is connected to Mystery Babylon.
Hey, Marvo.
What's up, bro?
Sure. So the other day we was actually having a conversation about this. I was like, yeah, like so everybody getting called Christian. I was like, I don't know, but You call me a Christian, that's like calling me a nigga. Like when you learn better, bro. Like when you learn better, you do better.
Right, but you have to understand that the whole world is not, they're ignorant of this information. So you got to just be a little bit, compassionate for the ones who don't know. For real. But again, you see, old Wednesday is named after Woden or Odin. See, that's how they pronounce it. The supreme Norse god after the Roman god Mercury. Thursday is Thor, right? The Norse god of thunder after the Roman god Jupiter. And then you see two, which is Mars, or Tyre. And then Frigg, which is where Friday come from, Freya, the Norse goddess of love after the Roman goddess Venus. And it's that simple. So this is where this stuff come from. These tribes, and remember, they came in and took over again in Rome when at the end of Constantine's reign. They came in and took over again. That's why you got the Norse blended in with the Christian, blended in with the Greco, blended in with the Roman. That's why they all similar. And they got it from ancient Egypt. And the Egyptians got it from the Babylonians. And a lot of people don't like that. But I don't really care. It ain't even about what we like, y'all. It's just about uncovering history and displaying the facts. So I ain't gonna go no further because we went a lot longer, but I stayed here, so that's why we went on and hung out. I don't like. I be trying to keep it short and sweet, but the initial lesson was short and sweet. So I might split this video down the middle and just, it's on live, so it ain't gonna be no splitting because it's on live, y'all. It's actually still streaming right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. So I'm looking at it streaming still. It's on the part where we talking about the Hiruli and the Vandals and the Ostrogoths. So I know we disseminate a lot of information. I appreciate everybody for popping in. Are there any questions, concerns, emotional outbursts? Somebody want to prove me wrong about something, whatever that look like. I ain't tripping because it's all in love. I'm not sitting here, tripping on anything.
I got a question.
Go ahead, my brother.
Is that when they say vandalism, does that come from the Vandals?
Mm, mm. That's a good question. Did the term vandalism come from the ancient Vandals? That would be crazy. Yes, the term vandalism comes from the ancient Vandals, a Germanic tribe whose sack of Rome in 455 CE. See what I'm trying to tell y'all? They came and destroyed Rome, led to their lasting reputation as destructive plunderers. The term was coined in the modern sense in 1794 by Bishop Henry Gregory, to describe the destruction of art and monuments during the French Revolution. So yeah. Hey, my brother, thank you for that observation. I never even thought of that. Vandalism.
Yeah, when I seen it on there, I'm like vandalism. I'm like, and yeah, that's when they vandalize something, that's what they doing, destroying art, tearing up some for
Yep.
that's
No,
vandalism.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's a fact. I mean, and this is what I'm saying. This is why it's important, y'all, that we have community. Because you gonna see something when your eyes get open, you gonna notice something. And when his eyes they gonna notice something. That's how it work, y'all. This is how we build together in spirit and in truth. So, that's crazy, man. Shout to AW Capital for that observation, for paying attention, Real talk. That was a good one, my brother. I might, we might have to send you a gift or something. Just for paying attention, because we reward that type of behavior. We love when people paying attention, straight up. But y'all know, like I said, we're gonna be having live quizzes and all kind of stuff. It's a lot we got planned. So, any more questions before we close out? I love it. I love it when it ain't no question. I'll give y'all a little second to get to the microphone. Maybe y'all trying to get the mic button. Doom, 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 doom. Ah. All right. So I'm gonna take that as silence being acquiescent. And that there is no more questions. And I appreciate y'all for popping out today. Was you about to say something else?
I got one more question.
Go
The
ahead.
Hercules, is that part of his demo too?
You mean the hero lie?
Yeah, here alive and Hercules,
Mm-mm. But
they're not connected.
no. The hero lie, I know it can't because it got the hero on the front, heroes. I mean, we talking about heroes, um, but let's see, because I could be wrong, but the reason why I say that is because they're saying that uh like you got to remember Hercules is who? Let's just look it up. I know who it is, but I just like people to see stuff. Where did he come from? Before I go scrolling upward. Where did Hercules come from, y'all?
Romans, I believe.
From the Romans?
And
Uh-uh. Who did the Romans get it from, y'all? The Greeks. All right, but so Hercules is the Roman equivalent of the Greek divine hero Heracles, son of Jupiter and the mortal Alcmena. In classical mythology, Hercules is famous for his strength and for his numerous far-ranging adventures. All right, so let's just see if something come up, cause I don't want to be lying. Hercules and the Heruli connection. Let's just put it there so we can try to reach. There is no known historical or mythological connection between the Greek hero Hercules and the Germanic tribe known as the Heruli. The similarity in the names is a coincidence, and that's why I already knew that because, like I say, I understand the historical timeline, and that's the reason why. Because y'all got to remember, before there was a Roman, there was the Greeks. So and then the 10 Viking, y'all gotta understand when they talk about that Roman beast and then it having 10 head, 10 horns, and then three of them was plucked up, you have to understand that it's the same people. A transfer of power to the particular groups inside of the descendants of Japhet. We talking about Japhet, y'all. Even the Bible told you in the book of Genesis, Japhet shall enlarge his kingdoms and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem. Out of Japhet came the Isles of the Gentiles. This is where the white man come from. And it's not putting that description on everyone because again, you know, everybody in the nation is not wicked like these folks. Some of these people are devout. And how do we know that? Because we got scriptures that tell us about Cornelius, the Italian man who was a devout man of God. So, it's not all that skin color stuff that a lot of them Hebrews on the corner be talking about. We deal with that another time because that's, we kind of this was a mixture type of a lesson because it talk about all these different things. But, all right, so I assume there's no more questions. So I'm going to hit the stop button on everything. And we appreciate